So we kind of understood why a system is needed, what is the importance of a system. Now let's kind of understand how to really build a system. Of course, we will give you a ready-built system, but why it is important that you understand this is, you know how I'm not interested just to serve you the food. I'm also kind of interested in teaching you how that food is cooked. Because tomorrow, if you want to cook, you should be enabled to cook that yourself. And that's our endeavor in Trade to Transform. And in this course, Decoding Stock Trading. So you will also learn here, once you kind of understand this, you can build your own trading system. And that's great. You learn from us and then improvise on that and build on your own. That's going to be phenomenal. You're going to be a great trader, and that's what we wish happens to you, right? Of course, we're going to give you all the support through your journey of becoming financially free. Now, let's kind of understand how to really build a trading system which is very, very efficient, and what are the ingredients which gets into building a trading system. Now, any trading system has, at least from my experience, what I've kind of come up with. This is something which has come up totally from my experience. It is not in any of the books or any of the other learning platforms or whatever. This is purely from my personal experience being in stock market for the last 17 years. So now, I personally feel there are 7 different steps, to building a effective and very, very efficient trading system. Now, what are those? First and foremost, either you learn a strategy or design a trading strategy yourself. So what is a strategy? Strategy means using various indicators, using various tools, putting that together and trying to see where to buy, where to sell. So that's a strategy. It's still not a system. It's only a part of a system. So either you design or learn. So in this curriculum, we will share with you the strategies which is built into a system, so that you kind of get to use that. That is the first thing. Second, you got to back test this strategy. What does it mean? You got to go back in time, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and apply it and see if that works. And over a period of time, if it is working, and every year you are seeing that consistently, if you trade in that particular strategy, that it brings out favorable result. If it is bringing out favorable result, great, keep it. If it is not, you kind of have to calibrate that strategy for optimal outcome. Now, what does this calibration means? So now as per the strategy, there is buying which is going to happen at certain level. Then that certain amount of money will be let go as stop loss. Then you're going to have a target, then exit, and all of that will be neatly defined, right? So now once it's defined, if is in the back testing you see it is not giving you a great result, maybe you slightly start to tweak that. Buying changes a bit, percentage of loss changes a bit, target changes a bit, exiting changes a bit, selling happens at a different place, and all of that you kind of start to calibrate. Like in the recipe, you started to kind of alter or calibrate the recipe. Here also exactly same thing you do. You start to calibrate that, and once you calibrate that, what do? You retest that system for accuracy and risk. What is risk? We're going to talk about that in the next subsequent module. But you're gonna even see how much of loss it is making. And once you see how much of loss it's making, are you willing to take that much of risk? How much of profit it's making? What is the risk and reward of the system? Are you willing to take that much, right? And is the overall result favorable? Once you find that yes, this result is favorable, then what you do is you define the execution rules, keeping in mind your risk, keeping in mind your capital, and keeping in mind how much time you have, what kind of trading you want to do, whether you want to sit in front of the system whole day or you only want to spend minimum amount of time. You will define the execution rules of where to buy, when to buy, how to buy, what is the quantity to buy. All that you neatly define, and after having defined, you do a forward testing of these execution rule for certain period of time. And once you kind of do, say, for few weeks to few months, based on that kind of system, especially for predictive systems, forward testing is kind of essential. And especially if you're doing options trading, once you learn options trading, it will need some amount of forward testing, because it's almost very difficult to do a back testing. But for trend following, forward testing is not so essential. For trend following, if you do a very neat and clean back testing, that is good enough for you to take it forward and kind of get onto the live markets as well. So now here, once you do the forward testing and based on your risk appetite and everything, you will deploy your capital and get that whole strategy trading ready. And all of these together and these elements, and when you define the execution rule should have all the aspects of where to buy, where to sell, what is the stop loss, what is the quantity, what is the time frame, what is the target, everything neatly listed down without any ambiguity. So once that rule is defined, you simply look at that rule, memorize that rule like it's a recipe. It will have the ingredients and it will have the rules. So now you have practiced it, you know it. So now if you have to trade, it's very easy. It's like cooking your daily routine food, and as simple as that. All of that together becomes a strong trading system. And it's very, very essential that if you are, once you learn certain strategies from us, and you will also kind of learn how to kind of have it like a system. We'll give you a already developed system. But as you improvise, have this in your mindset that everything in life is happening as per some system in place. And if you notice all around, you will see there are more and more and more systems. Only when the system you will see that is very efficiently following. Especially if you want to see great systems working, look at your parents and grandparents, how they lead their life. Especially, maybe grandparents will be even more ideal, right? Where you would have seen for them everything is happening systematically, and that's how they led their whole life. So everything around them was system, right? So if you have a garden, see how a plant is grown. It happens systematically, right? And if you see the whole nature, it is systematic. There is season based on the time period of the year, and it happens exactly as per the system, right? So everything in the nature is a system. So now when you adapt same thing in the market, you become extremely, extremely successful. So that is what a system is. Now I want to kind of tell you something very, very important. Pay close attention to this particular statement, which is, people, system works. It's the people who fail. System never fails. It's always we, the human beings, who fail. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean? Let me go back to the example of that recipe. Say, for example, you got a very authentic cuisine, your traditional cuisine from your grandfather or grandmother or grandparents or grand aunt or uncle or whoever that is, right? You got that. And now you wrote it down, everything, and now you are going to cook. As you are cooking, you get few calls, and you take your phone call and you continue talking, you hold your, and you continue talking, or put on headphones and continue talking and try to continue cook. And as you're cooking, because you're on a call as well, you're slightly deviated, and maybe because of that you end up putting little bit more spice, or you put less spice, or put more salt, or put something else, or you overcook or undercook. And then when the cuisine is ready, when you eat it, the taste is not going to be great, not going to be good at all. And whom do you curse at that point in time? You don't curse the recipe. You don't curse your grandparents who gave you the recipe, because you know that when they cooked, it was brilliant. Now something has gone wrong. What has gone wrong? Has the system gone wrong, or did you make a mistake of implementing the system and following the rules? Most of the time, 99.99%, it's we who make the mistake in implementing and following the rules of the system. We don't cook, we turn on the TV, and looking at the TV, we kind of start cooking. We kind of scroll through the social media and start to cook. What happens? So it is we as people always fail. Once the system is followed, system never fails, it always works. So stick to system-based trading, and only system-based trading. Why? Because when the systems work, profits follow. If you try to work, profits won't follow. You will incur losses. This is my experience, what I'm telling. So in the stock market, we don't work. When we work, we end up using our emotion and that's a disastrous recipe there. But if you deploy the system, it is devoid of emotion, it is objective, and it kind of starts to work in a way which leads you towards your financial freedom. So systems always work and profits always follow. So keep this in mind, and get ready to deploy some of the best systems which you're going to get as part of this curriculum. So if you're kind of getting something out of here, type in the comment, systems work, profits follow. Type in the comment, systems work, profits follow. I'll come in the next video and we'll talk about your actions for this model. Thank you. See you in the next video.